because a wind chime in Japan, in Korea, in China, anywhere in Southeast Asia. And usually you will find the wind chime is placed at the front to protect the people, because when energy comes through your doorway, whether it is good energy or bad energy, if it is too fast, it will bring all the good luck from your house together with your money out the back way. And that's why some Feng Shui houses, or what we call geomancy houses, advocate using a wind chime to slow down the speed of the wind. Some geomancy schools do not advocate this. Today there are 900 over different schools. Some of them advocate using a lantern or a light instead. So this is just basically to give you an idea about it. And to tie all this up with modern Singapore, I have to go into the history of modern Singapore. And it all began in 1819 when Sir Stamford Raffles, a young British officer, arrived here by the banks of the Singapore River and saw a natural harbour at the crossroads between East and West and founded modern Singapore. He declared it a free port to bring the traders here, and that proved to be very successful. And soon our population expanded until today we have 3 million. And so it has been written that on the main island that is in the shape of a diamond, there dwell 5 dragons, 4 of whose heads terminate by the banks of the Singapore River, and the 5th one overlying their backs, protecting the northern shores of Singapore. And so it has been written, when Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles arrived here in 1819 by the banks of the Singapore River, he awoke the 5 dragons and brought prosperity to the land. And coming up, you'll see the riches of Singapore. See, in his town plan of 1822, he had designated the financial district and Chinatown on the south side of the Singapore River, and it's alive and well. Now when Sir Stamford Raffles saw that there were so many different peoples of different cultures, religions, languages and traditions, he split up the land so that there would not be conflict. And so that's how we got Chinatown, Little India, the Arab areas of Singapore, the financial district and the civic district of Singapore. Now we have just passed through the eastern part of Singapore, where the European community moved to when the city of Singapore expanded after the First World War. All this has changed since then because we have reclaimed a lot of land. All this car park used to be water. We reclaimed all this to put our national stadium over here, so it's built on reclaimed land as well. So the shoreline of Singapore has changed entirely from what it used to be. But it was relatively easy to do the reclamation work in a sense, because the coastline of Singapore is basically marshland, so it's not that deep. The other aspect is that we do not have any hurricanes, typhoons, catastrophes of this nature. So we are blessed with not having to contend with all these problems. And that's why now we can afford to build all the high skyscrapers. So all those are private apartments. And right from the start, the East Coast has always been considered the rich area of Singapore. It still is today. And that's why they expanded this area and built apartments as well. Now today, because it is a Teacher's Day, right? They have got some special programs down in the city area, and for this reason, we will not be able to pass by the Raffles Hotel, most unfortunately, because the roads are all jammed up over there. Some roads have been closed. Even the Orchard Road area has been closed in Singapore. So for that reason, we are taking a slightly different routing today. When we get down into the city area, if the weather is nice downtown, we will make a short stop whereby you get on a complimentary boat ride, meaning you get a free boat ride. Laid out in the town plan of Sir Stamford Raffles. St. Andrew's Cathedral, the most beautiful Anglican Church, following that City Hall with the flag of Singapore, and the Green Dome, which is the Supreme Court of Singapore. After that comes the Clock Tower, where we have the Victoria Theatre, and standing guard at the mouth of the Singapore River is the Merlion, to ensure that the original wealth of Singapore will not flow out into the open seas. Right behind it, this magnificent building known as the Fullerton Building. It used to be the post office. Today, in line with New Asia, we have restored it and turned it into a 5-star heritage hotel, Fullerton Hotel. So we recross the Singapore River, the Merlion to our right, and as the weather is quite nice, you'll be getting the bonus and going on the boat ride down the Singapore River. Now the boats are quite big, but for security reasons, they have a maximum number in any one boat. So, get off from your friends. Don't worry, be happy. It will be only a short divorce of about 20 minutes, and we hope not too much harm will come out of that. Now, at this point in time when we get down from the coach, please make sure you do not leave anything in the coach, as we are not responsible for your personal belongings.
The white building on your right is our Parliament House. I remember it being used as a courthouse until a boatyard opened next door. It created such a noise that the courthouse was eventually built across the road. This next bridge, however, Coleman Bridge, was named after George Coleman, an Irish architect, for his contribution to Singapore's development. It was completed in 1886 and rebuilt again 100 years later. We are now in the Clark Quay Holiday. I remember the time the air was full of the sound master of hustle, and hustle and bustle stole the ears to the fire. Here now are the careful sights of young adults enjoying festivity and entertainment available in the same houses and boathouse. The big boats that you see on the right were ones you did not enter into the shallow waters around here. They have now been transformed into floating restaurants. Notice the eyes painted on their bows. It is believed that these eyes allow the birds to see danger ahead, as if I would protect them. Entertainment was simple for the early settlers. People would gather on cool evenings to listen to storytellers tell their tales near this bridge. It's called the Reed Bridge. Of course, I too have many interesting tales to tell. Tales.
Excuse me? Era la fermata questa.
Io credevo che ci facevano fare il giro, no?
No, era la fermata. practical feature can still be found in many modern-day buildings. And behind the building, you can just spot Fort Cannon Hill, with its landmark transmission tower antenna. This hill runs a burial ground of ancient Malay kings, was later chosen by our founder, Raffles, as the site to build his residence. Chinese cuisine from the Yunnan province has similar tastes. A marrying of Chinese and Malay styles in what we are now about to pass in the Cabinet Bridge. Completed in 1869 and named after Sir William Cunningham, this is the oldest existing bridge which stretches across my banks. Built in 1925, she housed our General Post Office until recently. The plans have now been finalized to transform it into a heritage hotel reminder of Singapore's history. Taking an opportunity to take photographs later, and other. Convention centers, shopping malls, and restaurants set amidst the beautiful. In the early days, Raffles spearheaded town planning exercises to house the seat of government on one side of the river, on your right, and commercial enterprise on the other. Take a look at the buildings on my left and right banks, and you'll see that this is still apparent. 1854, she previously housed the immigration offices. Now undergoing her second restoration exercise, this beautiful building will soon house a part of the Asian Civilization Museum, where Asian history comes to life. A living legacy will belong to all. And now, we approach Raffles landing site, the site where it all began. We have come come full circle. Where once I was the nation's lifeline, today I'm filled with the life of the nation. The spirit of our forefathers and the early settlers will always remain with me, and I am proud to have played a part in evolving the pulse of modern Singapore that you feel today. I hope you have enjoyed this journey. Please come back soon. The spirit of the new Asia Singapore awaits. As the boat comes to a halt, please watch your step when you disembark. Thank you.
It so happens it coincides with the school holidays. That's why it is much more busy today, right? So to our right is St. Andrew's Cathedral, a most beautiful Gothic structure that's an Anglican church. And then we come to one of the oldest roads in Singapore called North Bridge Road. So as the name suggests, this is north of the Singapore River. Yeah. No, we are in the south, yes, we are in the south, yes. North of the Singapore River. When we cross the Singapore River, we will be south of the Singapore River, and name of the road will change to South Bridge Road. So at that point in time, when we cross the river, or just before we cross the river, you will see Parliament. That's the new Parliament that was opened on 9th of September 1999. Knobs, and that signifies this is the rear view of the Supreme Court, and then just after that, where you see the flag of Singapore, that's the new Parliament House. In relation to the items that were here,
Element, mate.
So this is where you were at. That's Boat Quay, and that's on the other side is Clark Quay. The colorful colored building is the Ministry of Inn. The road name signifying the trades. This is Carpenter Street. This was where the carpenters were. Not the American singing duo, but the real carpenters who did carpentry work. And we have Hong Kong Street. This is where goods from Hong Kong were brought in. Even today, it is still where the wholesalers are for items that usually Chinese people would buy, like for instance, box torn seeds. So red colored seeds is good for the eyes, you know. And then you have ginkgo nuts and things of this nature, where in Chinese we call items that you use for making tong shui. This is supposed to be good for the health, to balance the interior of your body. They do have a little bit of bird's nest, but basically bird's nest would be on this side. And then, as we go further up, you will soon see evidence that there were many other races living in the heart of Chinatown, all interspersed one with the other. And after our independence in 1965, there was a lot of new development. So you find a lot of new high-rise buildings even in the heart of Chinatown. Now as we come further up, you will see that there is a mosque which attests to the fact that the Malays were living in the heart of Chinatown. And further down there's an Indian temple, because there were many Indians living in Chinatown as well. From the 16th century onwards, all Malays in the Malayan Peninsula in Singapore were converted to Islam. So today, all Malays are Muslims in Singapore and in Malaysia. So there's the mosque over here, and further down, there's the Indian Hindu temple. Sri Mariamman temple, around it, right? So basically, Hindus do not eat beef, as the cow is a sacred animal. And then we have this structure here. Basically, it's because this is the 7th month of the Chinese lunar calendar. In this month, it's supposed to be that all the ghosts, evil spirits and so forth roam the streets. So this is a time where generally Taoists or Buddhists, as in the case of Singapore, do not go traveling, do not change houses, do not change their jobs, because it's a bad time, the ghosts are out. So that's why we have all these structures out there, and then usually this is the time when we have Chinese operas presented out in the streets. This is supposed to appease the devils out in the streets. And people will burn joss paper to appease the devils around. Right? And if you happen to see joss paper on the floor, you're not supposed to step on it. It's bad luck to step on the joss paper. Right? It's supposed to be burned so that you will go into the next world, into the nether world. To our right, that used to be the Trishaw station. Today is a restaurant. So in line with New Asia, we have restored the building but put them to new users. And this is a food court or hawker center. 80 different stalls selling different kinds of foods. So usually the photos are up there with the prices, so you can choose whatever you feel like eating. Quite an impressive view of the city skyline with the old and new buildings in the same area, the downtown. So this is the extension of the city area, the financial area. So all these right now, we are on reclaimed land. In 1970, always this was reclaimed from the sea. 10 years later, we put in the infrastructure. So today the highway runs to the airport from here. And as we top the rise, you'll see the skyline of Singapore once again. This is the financial district, and the three tallest buildings measure 280 meters high. And that was also based on Feng shui. You see, for the Chinese, the number 2 actually is the Cantonese. The number 2 sounds like it is easy, and the number 8 sounds like luck. So 280 is to represent it is easy to have luck, and with luck you get prosperity. And that's how we decided on the tallest buildings in Singapore. And this must be true, because those are the banks out there. And what safer place is there than to put your money in the banks in Singapore? And there you see the colonial style facade. There's the used to be the General Post Office, and today there's the Fullerton Hotel. Next to that you see the green dome of the Supreme Court. Coming up you will see the clock tower, which is the Victoria Theatre, where we disembarked from the coach. And then in front of it, as we top the rise here, you will see the Merlion, symbol of Singapore's tourism, standing guard over the mouth of the Singapore River.
What is that new building that's going to go?
Now.
What is that new building just being built? Looks like a dome.
Oh, right. Oh, this construction going on. We are building 5 theatres on the bay. It's called Esplanade Theatres on the Bay, and we will be ready in October next year to provide a seating capacity of 5,600 people. As more people become more affluent, more people are beginning to appreciate the arts, so this is being catered to. And then we have the Suntec City Marina Square area. We have the 5 hotels, the Oriental, the Ritz-Carlton Millennium, the Conrad, Pan Pacific, Marina Mandarin, and a few office tower blocks. Somebody was asking me once again, how come there's nobody around? They are all inside there. Right now they are all inside there because there's some sort of a party going on right in the Suntec City area. It's a very big area, right? And they are all linked up by... Well, I know from the manifest that some of you have come in on very long haul flights and are quite tired out. So as we wind our way gently back towards the airport, you might like to take a little rest minutes from the airport. Thank you and pleasant dreams, or as they say in Japanese, Oyasu Minasai, and the Korean, Annyeong Hi Aseyo.
That move.
Mấy ông màu càng cao nhiều á.